Hi guys, thanks for tuning in this episode of the Nick Egan Times. On this episode, we have an awesome guest. We have Lauren Vermillion. Lauren has a background as a competitive figure skater, physical therapist, business professional, entrepreneur, and business coach. Welcome, Lauren, and thanks for joining my podcast.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Nick. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, and you're sincerely welcome. How's it all going over there?
Doing pretty well. It is March 1st, and I am over here in Wisconsin in the U.S., so that means in my book that it is time for spring, and we have indeed made it through the cold winter months. We are opposite of you, so that's good.
All right, and you're heading into summer too, so that's exciting.
It is.
How has, since the pandemic's hit over in the States, and especially where you are, how has that affected your life, and what's been happening, and how have you worked around it and adapted?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that it has been about a year almost. I remember I actually had a job interview on Friday, March 13th. Always an omen when it's Friday the 13th, and that was for a position, and that was I went to their office. That was the last time they were in office. And since then, a lot of changes. Been working from home now for, about 8 months. And definitely drive my vehicle less. I've embraced biking more and just trying to stay positive and do really what's in my control to still move forward in life and enjoy the time that we have.
Awesome. All right, for the listeners, let's just jump straight into it. Who is Lauren Vermillion?
Yeah, so I am, like you mentioned, a previous competitive figure skater. Then I became a physical therapist and decided that I was really interested in the business route, a little bit of entrepreneurship. I'm also really passionate about traveling, hiking, photography, health in general. And love spending time with family and friends and developing relationships and really always leveling up in life.
Amazing. All right, let's go back. Tell me about your life growing up, what it was like for you, and generally speaking, how has your life been?
Sure. So I have been in Wisconsin the majority of my life, and that made it logical, really, to be a figure skater. So I was raised primarily by my mother and my grandmother, so very close with both of them, but grew up really pretty middle class. So I learned the value of hard work, doing chores, earning money very early in life, and did have opportunities to play sports and be active, which I really appreciate, and I did gravitate towards figure skating, so that was a big portion of my life growing up, and was raised in a really supportive but not over pushy environment, and that those ethics of hard work and sticking to it, and maybe being a little bit stubborn, really stuck with me from childhood.
Amazing. Tell me about the competitive figure skating, how that all transpired, and where you went, and how it all happened for you.
Yeah, so I grew up really just competing pretty locally at first. Like I said, I didn't come from a family that had a ton of resources to allow me to travel all over the country to necessarily take from the best coaches that were available. But did the best with what I could, and I would consider myself a little bit of a late bloomer. You watch the competitions today, and there are all these really tiny 13-year-old girls and boys doing amazing elements. That was not me. I probably reached my prime in my 20s, which is very late, actually, for the sport. But for some reason, I really gravitated towards it. I think it was the ability that I could kind of have more control over how I trained and how I performed and what direction I went versus a lot of team sports. That being said, figure skating is very much of a team sport. There are so many people that help you achieve your goals behind the scenes. Family, of course, coaches, choreographers, trainers, things like that. And then really enjoyed my time growing up and had the opportunity to compete when I was attending university, and and did that as well.
Amazing. Where did it take you? So did you go nationally? Did you go internationally with it? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so I competed in a couple international competitions, but ended up passing through the U.S. figure skating levels. So the people that you see at the Olympics and the World Championships, they passed the gold level, and I did pass that. So competed at a pretty high level, and didn't actually do that until I was in college or at university and beyond. So I did have the opportunity, though, to compete for the University of Wisconsin, and we went to the Collegiate National Championships twice. So the team was formed my second year of college, my sophomore year, and then we qualified my junior year, my senior year, and I took second in one of my events at that level. And that was really my goal, was just to see if I could get on the podium. Any place would be great, and that was actually probably one of the defining moments of definitely my skating career, but my collegiate career as well. And even now, thinking back to that time, a large portion of my life, or a defining moment of my life as well, because it wasn't just about necessarily my win, but it was about bringing a team of other, we just had females on the team, so of other ladies along with me, and helping us train and helping everybody compete at their best, and then really performing well as a team there.
Well, that's amazing. Congratulations. It sounds like, you've done so well in it. And I have nothing but respect for you. How are the people though? Like, so in that kind of, I guess, where you were doing it and how you were doing it, what was the industry, or like, how was it like? Was it being in a competitive arena with other people?
Yeah, it is definitely a very competitive sport. And here in the U.S., in the Midwest, which is between the East and the West, we are considered, we have this title that's called Midwest Nice, where we are typically not as cutthroat as the people from the East Coast or the West Coast. No disrespect to them. I actually appreciate the directness and the bluntness that they can bring, but that was not necessarily my environment. So it is definitely a very cutthroat environment, and can be really, really intense. I mean, I have some really great coaches, and one thing that I learned that a good coach does is that they're willing to push you and be direct and be blunt, and sometimes you cry during training, sometimes you cry after you compete. That's okay, but it's learning through that experience, and that satisfaction of having someone on your side or on your team that's going to see your weaknesses, that's going to point them out, that wants the best out of you and to help you achieve your goals, so they're not going to let you back down from that.
Excellent. Right, let's go to another area. Have you done much traveling, like internationally or domestically as well?
I have. I've been quite a few places here in the U.S. I think that's my goal for this coming year, although I would like to get out of the country if that is a reasonable thing that we can do this year. After I finished my undergraduate degree, or during that time, even skating, I didn't have the means to really do a lot of traveling. So then when I finished my doctorate, I had a very large sum of student loans. That's one thing that we're good at accumulating here in the United States. If you go and you get your doctorate, especially a clinical doctorate like mine was, you tend to have a pretty big sum of student loans that you have to pay back. So had to work on those a little bit. And then finally, the last handful of years, I've been able to go a few places more internationally. At the time and resources to do that.
Amazing. All right, tell me about your professional career post, obviously, the figure skating, how that's all transpired, and, being a physical therapist. Yeah, talk to me about that.
Yeah, so I had always been interested in science and in healthcare, and I knew I didn't want to be a physician. I was really strong academically, but I really worked for it. So I was the one that was up late studying. My weekends were full of homework. And I knew the odds of me getting into medical school were very slim. I also love athletics, and there isn't a ton of money in figure skating, unless really you win the Olympics, and that's still not the best. So I realized, kind of merged the two, thought physical therapy would be a great plan, and went and pursued my doctorate. I took a year off between my undergrad and graduate work, and that was a really great year. It allowed me to learn a lot about real life, being an adult, and gaining some good experience there.
Cool. What inspires you daily?
Good question. Honestly, it kind of depends, but a lot of things. So in my physical therapy world, I would see people that had big challenges in life, whether they had a physical deformity, suffered a stroke, lost a limb, and they were able to persevere through that and try and get back to as normal life as they could. So that's really inspiring to me, and it puts in my challenges and my struggles into perspective, which I really appreciate. I'm really close with my grandmother. She's 98, and seeing everything and appreciating everything that she's been through is an inspiration to me as well.
Amazing. What's the best memories of your life that you can recall? And what's probably the best experience you've learned to date as well?
Ooh, good question. The best memories I've had. I think a lot of times it's those simple things. Being able to be with friends and family and have a drink on the patio, just enjoy time together that, so many people are missing. And I think if, 2020 and the coronavirus and everything has taught us one thing, it's taught us many things, but one thing is, I think, to appreciate the ability to just be together. Also, I've had some amazing, you asked about trips and traveling. I've had some amazing trips to Iceland and Thailand, and just getting to immerse myself in a completely different culture is great, and something that I definitely wouldn't take for granted. And what was the other question you asked me?
What's the best advice you've learned and experience?
Yeah. Don't give up. Pursue through the challenges and always seek to improve, because when you do that, you'll learn about yourself, which was definitely the case in my figure skating career. You fall down a lot. You get up, you learn something, you make a change. Even in my professional career, I made a pivot. I learned about myself. I learned what was important to me. I learned what my strengths were, and I made a pivot. And it's just a process of continuing to grow and become the best version of myself that I can be. So that's what I would recommend to others as well.
Phenomenal. All right, tell me about your passions and hobbies on the side.
Sure. So I still do a little bit of figure skating, which has been great, especially this year being winter in Wisconsin. The lakes freeze over, the ponds freeze over. That's been a good outlet to get outside. Definitely do it a little bit differently, and I appreciate other aspects of the sport. I love photography, getting out and being able to see something from a different perspective and putting a little bit of artistic spin on it. I was never great, growing up, drawing, painting, anything like that. I really didn't have that ability, but now being able to take a camera and capture a moment in time is really fun for me. I love reading. Audiobooks I've gotten into recently as well. Podcasts are awesome. Just learning from people that challenge the way that you think and can provide a different perspective. I've also kind of dove into the entrepreneurial space and learning how to do some investments and really create some other types of income and cash flow. Got some goals down the road to hopefully start some charity and contribute to a couple of those nonprofit projects, things like that.
Mind blowing. If we could go back in time, or you could go back in time, should I say, and you're 18 again, and you could change anything and do stuff differently, what would you do and what would you change?
If I was 18 and could do things differently. Okay. I would say two things. One, be more humble, because I think I would have gotten farther in life if I was more humble. Especially in my skating career, I could have made a lot of changes if I would have just listen to people a little bit better. Not that I didn't, but I think when you're a teenager, you think you have a lot of things in life figured out, and you definitely don't. I also studied psychology, and I would have added probably either a foreign language to that degree or an economics degree. I think what's really opened my eyes last year is just how the way the world works and money flows from different countries is just really fascinating to me. And I think by me understanding that better, I would ideally like to share it with the world and with other people and help people kind of take control of their own financial destiny, their financial challenges that they have can cause a lot of people stress, trouble, and just make life a little bit better when those things are in check.
Excellent. What does the future look like for you?
So I am really enjoying my career right now as a business analyst. I'm considering moving into the product space. So that's a move I'm looking to make. Really dive more into maybe some real estate and some other investments down the road. That's a big passion of mine, having a challenge and like I said, starting a charity, and I hope to eventually be able to self-fund that. I know some of my mentors have done that, and that's also really inspiring to me. And pass my third gold U.S. figure skating test. Senior solo free dance is what that's called. So I'm hoping to wrap that up this year and definitely get back to traveling pretty soon.
That's amazing. Without getting too political, in your personal opinion, where do you see the United States headed going into the future as well?
Yeah, good question. I feel like it could be tumultuous a little bit. It's really hard to say. I do love my country. I don't necessarily think it's that superior to other countries, but I think that one thing that I've taken for granted growing up in the United States is having a lot of freedom. And I think with the coronavirus, we've, in certain instances, had that taken away for right or for wrong. And I don't necessarily think that there's a black and white answer to that. I think it's a lot of shades of gray, which makes it really challenging. But I'm hoping that we can continue to promote human rights and really advocating for those around them.
That's a great answer, and yeah, thanks for giving us your opinion. Lauren, thanks for joining my podcast. I do appreciate it. I wish you all the success with everything you're doing and working on. I think you're doing amazing stuff. I think it's brilliant what you've already achieved, and yeah, I believe you're just going to smash it in the future.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it.
Pleasure. Have a great day.
You too.